Humanity didn't bury the weapon because it was too powerful. They buried it because it worked too well. So when the galaxy finally pushed Earth past the point of mercy, the weapon meant to protect everyone was forced to wake up. Intro. Long before humanity joined Galactic stage, we discovered a truth that terrified us more than any alien threat. The universe rewards domination. Empires rise. Civilizations fall. And the strongest always decide who gets to exist. So humanity built something different. Not a conqueror, not a god, but a final correction. A weapon designed to end wars before they became extinction. When it was finished, we looked at what we had created and buried it, not to hide our power, but to protect the galaxy from what happens when humanity stops holding back. Until someone forced our hand. Weapon humanity buried to protect the galaxy finally awakened. Humanity learned fear before it learned the stars. Not fear of aliens. Not fear of monsters from the dark. Fear of itself. The first truth. Long before first contact. Long before faster-than-light engines carried human ships beyond Sol. Earth faced its own extinction. Not from war. From escalation. Every conflict pushed technology forward. Every weapon demanded a counter. Every counter demanded something worse. Humanity's brightest minds finally reached a conclusion. So disturbing it was classified across every nation. If war continues to scale, someone will eventually build a solution that ends all others. So humanity decided to build it first. The weapon that wasn't meant to win. The project had no public name. In sealed records, it was called a correction. Not a bomb. Not a fleet. A system. A machine designed not to destroy enemies, but to remove the conditions that made domination possible. It didn't target cities. It didn't target species. It targeted empires. And when it was tested, humanity understood immediately what it had done. The day history was erased. The test was never meant to be lethal, just a proof of concept. A controlled activation over an uninhabited region of space. The system engaged, and an entire military network, ships, logistics, command, hyperspace routes, simply cease to function as a unified entity. No explosion, no radiation, just collapse. Every ship was intact, every crew alive, but no two vessels could ever coordinate again. An empire without cohesion is not an empire. It disintegrates quietly. The decision to bury it, the scientists celebrated. The generals did not, because the implications were clear. This wasn't a weapon you could aim. This was a truth you unleashed. Once the galaxy learned such a thing existed, every species would race to build its own version or steal it. War would not end. Reality would break. So humanity did the unthinkable. They erased the project. Data destroyed. Facilities sealed. Records rewritten. The weapon was entombed beneath Earth, wrapped in fail-safes, myths, and laws older than modern governments. One rule replaced all others. Never wake it. The galaxy arrives. Centuries later, the galaxy found Earth. An expanding empire, ancient, confident, unstoppable, mapped Sol and found a quiet world. No megastructures. No god weapons. No territorial claims. Just a species that traded politely and stayed out of imperial politics. To the empire, Earth looked weak, safe to absorb, easy to pressure. Thresholds. The first demands were subtle. Trade restrictions. Military advisors. Exclusive corridors. Humanity refused. The pressure escalated. Blockades. Fleet deployments. Orbital intimidation. Still, Earth held. And deep beneath the planet's crust, systems older than nations began to stir. Not because of fear, but because a line had been crossed. Extinction-level coercion detected. In a chamber sealed for centuries, lights ignited for the first time. The correction had not been abandoned. It had been waiting. And somewhere above Earth, an empire that had crushed hundreds of worlds believed it was about to claim one more. It was wrong. The empire's fleets did not attack immediately. They never did. Domination, to them, was an art of patience. From high orbit, thousands of warships settled into precise formations, their presence alone enough to bend trade routes and panic lesser worlds. To imperial commanders, Earth was already conquered. The final paperwork just hadn't caught up yet. They issued their ultimatum. Submit planetary governance for integration. Compliance ensures survival. Humanity did not answer, not because it couldn't, because it was deciding something far more important. The chamber opens. Beneath kilometers of reinforced mantle, a door older than recorded law unlocked itself. No alarms, no dramatic unveiling, just quiet mechanisms engaging with the inevitability of gravity. Inside, the correction awaited. It did not look like a weapon. There were no barrels, no warheads, no aggressive geometry. It resembled a monument, smooth surfaces intersecting in ways a human eye struggled to follow. It had been designed that way. Anything that looked like a weapon invited misuse. Authorization. 12 keys existed. No single nation held more than one. They were never meant to be used quickly. Yet as Imperial fleets tightened their orbit and weapons powered up, something unprecedented occurred. The keys activated, one by one, not because of panic, but because every government, every military council, every intelligence network reached the same conclusion independently. This was no longer about Earth. It was about precedent. The first correction. The Empire fired next. A demonstration strike. Focused, restrained, meant to cow rather than destroy. The beam never reached the atmosphere. Space between the fleet and Earth behaved incorrectly. Distance refused to remain constant. Targeting solutions drifted. Energy coherence unraveled. On Imperial bridges, confusion replaced confidence. Recalibrate. We are recalibrating. Then why is nothing locking? They fired again. And again. Nothing. What the weapon actually did. The correction did not shield Earth. It rewrote relationships. Empires depended on coordination. Supply chains, command hierarchies, synchronized fleets. The correction targeted those structures at a fundamental level. Not ships, not people, assumptions. Across the Empire's territory, fleets lost contact with logistics. Hyperspace routes misaligned by fractions that made travel impossible. Command orders contradicted themselves before they could be executed. An empire cannot function if its parts refuse to agree on reality. The galaxy notices. Far beyond Sol, instruments older than the Empire detected anomalies. Navigation buoys drifted. Time markers disagreed. Long stable constants wavered. Something had been activated. Something that didn't just defend the planet. Something that enforced limits. Too late to stop. In the chamber beneath Earth, Dr. Mara Klein watched the data cascade. Can we shut it down? Someone asked. Klein shook her head slowly. It's not escalating, she said. It's stabilizing. Outside, the Empire's fleet began to fragment. Not physically, but operationally. Ships were intact, crews alive, weapons charged, and utterly useless. The correction had awakened, and it had decided the galaxy needed reminding why it had been buried in the first place. The Empire did not retreat. Not at first. Empires rarely do, because retreat implies the possibility of limits. From orbit, Imperial commanders issued overlapping orders, attempting to reassert control over fleets that no longer agreed on what control meant. Ships received commands that contradicted one another before they could be executed. Supply vessels emerged from hyperspace into coordinates that no longer matched the stars they knew. For the first time in its history, the Empire could not tell whether it was winning or losing, only that it was unraveling. The realization, across the Empire's core worlds, analysts reached the same conclusion in horror. This was not a battlefield loss. It was a structural failure. The thing Earth had awakened did not fight wars. It ended the conditions that made wars possible. An empire cannot exist if it cannot coordinate. That was the truth the galaxy had never been forced to face. Until now, the correction spreads. The weapon did not expand violently. It propagated carefully, like a surgeon extending a scalpel only as far as necessary. Imperial territories nearest to Sol lost coherence first. Military commands stalled. Border fleets dissolved into independent actors, no longer capable of acting as an extension of Imperial will. Worlds once bound by fear suddenly found themselves free. Some celebrated, some panicked. All of them remembered who had made it possible. Humanity holds back. In the chamber beneath Earth, Debate raged. "We can end them," one general argued. "Push it further." Dr. Mara Klein shook her head. "That's exactly why we buried it," she said. "It doesn't choose sides. It enforces balance." The correction was not loyal to humanity. It was loyal to continuity. If humans tried to use it to dominate, it would correct them as well. That was the final safeguard. And the most terrifying one, the message to the galaxy. Humanity transmitted a single broadcast. No encryption. No demands. No threats. "We did not build this to rule you. We build it because extinction is easy and domination always leads there. The weapon beneath our world will sleep again. But if any civilization seeks to erase another, it will wake." Attached were fragments of ancient data. Enough to prove the correction existed, but not enough to replicate it. A warning, not an invitation. Aftermath. The Empire fractured, not destroyed. Disassembled. Without coordination, its vast territories became independent worlds overnight. Some blamed humanity. Others thanked it. Trade routes were redrawn. Treaties rewritten. The word empire slowly became unfashionable. And Earth? Earth went quiet again. Epilogue, the burden. Deep beneath the planet, the correction powered down. Not asleep, watching. Humanity returned to arguing, to trading, to being messy and divided. But now the galaxy understood something vital. Earth was not weak. Earth was restrained. Because somewhere under its oceans and continents lay a weapon so dangerous that even its creators were afraid to use it.